Today's topic will cover two different types of hinges that I use. The first type of hinge I use is the piano hinge, and I usually use these for the very small boxes, and sometimes for a little bit larger jewelry box I might put two of the hinges on a box. It's not an easy thing to do these hinges. They take a lot of time and effort, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. The second type of hinge that I use is just a plain buckle hinge, and I like this because it's fairly easy to put on, and I'm more concerned about the art of the project than the look of the box. Most people really don't care whether it's a piano hinge or a buckle hinge. I mean, what they're interested in is the actual box itself and how it looks. But for me, it's very important to figure out how to put on hinges quickly without damaging the surface, and for it to look fairly decent when it's all done. So that's the topic of this. So in order to get all that done, doing it by hand is a long process. It's a lot faster if I have a template. So I did a couple of templates, and that's the subject of this video today, is the templates and how they're used, how I made them, and if it's of any interest to you, good, you know, and if it's not, well, this is part of the box making, and if you don't like it, you can always skip the video. Thank you. Hinging a box is one of my least favorite things to do. It's very, very delicate operation, and it requires a lot of skill. You got two problems. One is you got to cut the wood, make sure that it's level all the way across, and that it's deep enough so that when you close the box, the hinge doesn't obstruct and lift the lid off. So if you got a single hinge, okay, it takes a while, but you can probably get it done. The problem becomes when you start going into more than one hinge on a box. So like in this example over here, there's two hinges, as you can see. 1, 2. And you have a problem of balancing that out and making sure that it's even and that the depth is right. So that's why I made the jig. It makes problems like this go away. It's a very simple job now. Okay, this is the template that I created. Let's get up here on this full screen. There we go. This is the template I created for my various hinges, and I divided them up into two different areas, wood and acrylic. And since I'm just really concentrating right now on the acrylic one, we can zoom in on these over here. So I made 3 different templates. This one is for the 2-inch hinges, this one's for the 6-inch hinges, and this one's for the 8. Now I do have a couple of 4-inch hinges, so it's very, very easy to do another template. It's, you know, not very difficult at all. And a couple of the other differences that you might notice is that this one over here has slots. So I can fine-tune and adjust the in and out of the template to the hinge and make it a tighter fit or a looser fit, have the barrel part of the hinge stick out or be embedded a little bit. Now on these two, this one and this one, I did not put a slot in there, but it's very easy. All you have to do is just copy these guys down to the right places and shift them over. Now you've got the adjustable templates. So most of these are done in acrylic, and I have 5.5 millimeter acrylic is what I use. So the settings are up here on the right. You can see that for the outer perimeter, to do a cut, I use 10 millimeters per second at 25%. Since I have a 100-watt laser, that equates roughly to maybe 25 watts, maybe. And then the green over here, since I'm recessing this so I can put a screw down and have no interference from my router plate, I do a fill, and I'm doing it 84.7 millimeters per second at the same speed, 25. And that gives me enough depth to put a screw in there, and it lays underneath the surface so it's not in the way of moving. I then added a couple of other center lines, which are these things over here, these orange ones. And then these show me where the exact center of the box or the cover is going to be. So I could use that for my alignment and before I do all my clamping. It's not really all that difficult. So, if I surround this and let's say do a preview, of course you can't see that, but it's I'll show you that a little bit later. This is the preview that I see from the cuts, and we can see that it's going to cut out the outline of the template. Is going to make these elongated holes off and recessed. The black is a recessed area. It's going to be labeled, and you can see the center line for the entire jig and the center line for each one of the hinges. I could use this then for individually doing one hinge, or I can put this on a box and do both hinges. Okay, so the first thing you do is you just put the piece of wood that you're going to put the hinge on in front and clamp it down somehow so that you have a pretty good foundation. You don't want this thing slipping at all. Now these are for the 2-inch hinges. And I got my router bit, and the bottom is already set up for the right depth. All you have to do is just put it on here, and that's the right size. So I'm going to go ahead and route this edge real quick. And that's all it took. So let's take this thing off. And lo and behold, there's my cutout. The only thing you might have to do, well, I know you have to do it, is I'm looking for my tool. Just give me a second here because I've been losing tools all day today. Okay, so once this is done, you still have to have, because it's a round bit, you have to square off the corner, and that doesn't take much time at all. You just put a little bit of indent in there, and that's it. This one real quick. And that should be it. That squares that off. Okay. So now the next thing to do is to fit the hinge. That looks perfect to me. Okay. And then I'm going to drill the hole for the screw. Put the screw in. One more hole for the other side. And bingo, a nice hinge. I'm going to take a look at it on the side, and it's like almost a zero level fit. Perfect. I'm very happy with this one. All I'm going to do is just tighten down the screws down. Nice hinge. So that didn't take all that long to do. Now the whole thing is based on what you're going to do with this. So you can make this hinge. The hinge I made is a 2" by 0.465, and that's a stock hinge that I use. And with this distance here, I can do a 10" box and put 2 hinges on, one on this side, one on this side. And because I have a center alignment, I could then put a top on and do the cuts, and everything should line up perfectly.